Hello, hello. Welcome to another Facebook Live card tutorial with independent Stampin' Up! demonstrator Teresa Harper. I am located in Oregon in the United States. I'm so happy that you've joined me tonight on this very wet, windy day. I don't know about all of you here in the Pacific Northwest. We had a bit of hail this afternoon. It hailed for probably 15 minutes. It's crazy. Okay, so while you're all jumping on, I'm going to see if I can find myself here so I can see your comments. So let's hang out here. Here we go. Is there? Hello, Lynette. So glad you could join me. Man, is it raining like crazy at your house? Because it is nasty here. Nasty. It stormed so hard last night, I did not sleep well. So, anyway, this is the bundle that we're going to be using today. I can show you the mini catalog now since it's live. You're going to find the Thoughtful Expressions bundle on page 62 of the January to April 2024 mini catalog, aka JA 2024. So whenever you see that JA 2024 for Stampin' Up, it is this mini catalog. So this was one of the very first bundles that I put on my list because I loved these dies. And I love me a good hummingbird. And there's a couple of flowers in here that are pretty. I like the sentiments, but mostly, if you don't like the stamp set, get the dies because these are pretty fabulous. Hello, Tracy. Okay, so these are the items. So we've got the Thoughtful Expression stamp set. This is a cling mount rubber stamp set. And of course, most of the stamps are out of there because we're going to be using them tonight. And then this is the set of 19 dies. So these all layer one inside the other. We're going to be using a couple of these tonight. We're going to be using a couple of these, and then some leaves and a flower, the hummingbird. We've got all kinds of things. So let's go ahead. It's 7:03. We're going to jump right in and get started. Okay, let me move these out of the way. And we'll start on our first card, which is going to be a love card. You can use it for Valentine's or a happy anniversary, or I'm going to show you where I started, and this was pretty intense. So this is where I started, and I thought, oh, there's so many steps to that. That's crazy. It's a beautiful card. Excuse me. But it has a lot of steps, and there was a lot of figuring. And this actually uses one of the brushed gold cards and envelopes that carried over. And really what I did was I cut this in half. I cut it in half, and I used this half that I added onto a white card base, and then I used the back half just to put inside the card. So I used just a regular white card base for this one. And then I'm going to show you how to do the rest of this pretty much. So I'm going to go from there. I kind of simplified it, so it wasn't quite so intense. Okay. So those brushed gold cards and envelopes are a carryover, and you'll find them in the online exclusives at this point. And I'm going to imagine that that's while supplies last. And then they'll be gone. Okay, so let's get started with the card that we're going to make. Let's grab our supplies. We're going to start with a real red card base. And this is 5.5 by 8.5, 4 1/4. My inside piece is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8 inches. And I've put a piece of the most adored designer series paper. This is a freebie that you can choose with a $50 purchase during celebration in January and February. So let's have a look. This is side 1 and this is side 2 of this paper. Okay. Oh, no, I guess it isn't. This is what the back side of that one looks like. Or the front side, I guess. This is the back side. Then you've got this one. And you've got a marble, a Flirty Flamingo marble. And you've got a gold marble. And on the back of that is this kind of diagonal plaid pattern. Excuse me, I've got a dry spot. And then we've got the gold plaid. And on the reverse side of that is this beautiful floral heart pattern in Flirty Flamingo. We've got this rose pattern. And on the reverse side of that is this. And then this is the paper that we're using today. And then you've got this piece with the gold. And then you've got these Flirty Flamingo hearts. So that is free with a $50 qualifying purchase. That's before tax and shipping. And then you can choose that. And for every $50 increment that you spend, you get to choose a celebration item from the catalog. Okay, so we've got those. And I've got a piece of real red cardstock that I've cut with the Countryside corner dies. And I used the second to the largest here. And then I ran this through the time-worn type embossing folder to add a little bit of texture. Okay, so we've got that, and when you use this, you can actually read the words, so you want to make sure you have those right side up when you attach it to your card. Now, from the Thoughtful Expressions dies, I have cut these pieces here. So I've cut the largest die in gold foil. Okay, I also cut from the center because I needed a couple of pieces. I've cut this flower die right out of there, and I've cut a leaf. Okay, now you could cut more, and I would recommend that you cut more because we're actually going to use 2 of these and 1 of these, so you should at a minimum get those out of there. But once you run it through, you don't want to run it back because then you're going to damage your stitching along the edge and get marks all over the top. So that's a way to just make sure when you're doing that you've already cut the second to the largest die here in your basic white, and then make sure that's going to cover so that you can layer those and save some foil. Okay. All right, so just a tip there for saving that precious foil when you need to. Okay, so we've got those pieces. And we're going to stamp on this piece. And in addition to those, we're going to be using these in our card. These I've cut from gold foil. Okay, and those are from those same Thoughtful Expressions dies. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our stamping. And let's move these out of the way. But we need this. Okay, so the Thoughtful Expressions did not have a sentiment that I was looking for. So I pulled the Love You More sentiment from the Heartfelt Hellos. This is another one of those celebration choices with a $50 spend. And this is coordinates with the Heartfelt Hexagon punch that is now in the online exclusives. This was in the last mini catalog, so you may already have it. And these are sized to fit this perfectly. So I'm going to use that. And we're going to start with some real red ink. I'm going to stamp my sentiment first. Okay. Okay, so we've got that. Set that aside. And then I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to bring in Pebble Path ink. And to stamp this flower cluster. This one right here from the Thoughtful Expressions. We're going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp this a few times. Putting my flowers at different heights. Just to give myself a little cluster. Okay, set that one aside. And then we're going to color these. And these are pretty quick to color. So these are the markers that we're using. Right here. I'm going to start with my light Old Olive. And I'm just going to color in these leaves. I'm going to do one stem at a time. Then I'm going to go to my light Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to color right over the top of that to blend those colors together to look more like garden green. We don't have blends for garden green. So I'm using the light Old Olive and the light Granny Apple Green. Trying to work quickly so those colors stay wet so that they'll blend a little easier and create a whole new color for me. One that's a little bit closer in color to garden green. Okay. Pretty quick. And then I'm going to go to my dark Granny Apple Green. And I'm just going to put a little bit of dark at the base of each leaf. Stem there. Just for a little bit of depth. Okay, and then we're going to start with our light Flirty Flamingo. anybody else have trouble with these? Getting the caps off. I'm going to put on my light flirty flamingo here, and then I'm going to move to here, and I'm going to come down here. Super simple to color. And there we are. And then I'm going to use my dark real red. I'm going to hope this doesn't pop off the wrong way, which it's going to. I'm having trouble with my dark real red wanting to open properly. Okay, there we go. So we'll just put those in. Scribble in a little bit of color. And I didn't miss anything. So I think we're good. All right, so now we have this. And we can begin to assemble. So we're going to go ahead and put this on. Now I've got holes in the back. So I'm going to try to keep I'm going to get my silicone mat. And put this on. Because this will not stick to my silicone mat. I'll put that on. And then I'm going to add this piece. To my real red layer, and again I'm going to make sure that my words are right side up. I can see the word hello and we know, so I want to make sure that I'm putting that in the right orientation. I'm going to add this. This is a pretty simple card. And then we're going to add our designer series paper. Where did I put it? Oh my goodness, I know I had it cut. All right, well, I guess I'll grab another piece. I'm not sure where it disappeared to. If anybody sees it, shout out. Because I certainly don't see it sitting there. And I didn't put it on the other side. Okay, so let's just grab this. This is already cut at 4. So let's cut it at 5 1/4. Oh, it's already cut at 5 1/4. Apparently, I put that piece away. Oh, too funny. Got ahead of myself. So hard to cover that up, but that was not the look I was looking for. It would be pretty that way, but not quite. I really love this plaid. So that's the side we're going to use. It's a shame to cover up the foil, but they made me choose between two beautiful papers. Okay, let's say hello, Cynthia. I don't know if I said hello. Hope your leg is doing better. Okay, now this is where I'm going to put this on. And I want to make sure that I can add my pieces in the corners. So when I put my adhesive on this piece, and ordinarily I use liquid. Oh, and I just ran out. Okay, did not realize that was that empty. But this time we're going to use the seal because I want to be able to lift this. Okay, let's get that about in the center there. It almost looks like I could pretty much line that up like that. Okay, So then we're going to get some glue dots. Let's get rid of this tail we don't need. And I'm going to take a glue dot to each of my gold foil pieces. And put this one right in the center of that gold foil. Okay, I'm going to take and stick this under this corner, like so. And then we're going to bring this one, and we may have to cut that stem. Nope, I got it in there fine today. Okay, so we'll put that in there like that, making sure that we don't go past the bottom of our card base. And then we're going to add this in. Right there. And then let's add our inside piece. So I've taken another one of those, this smaller one, the smallest one here, and I'm going to tell you why. I put a sentiment on here and I decided that's not what I wanted. So to cover it up, I cut another one of these, the smallest one, I believe. Let's see. This is how you can always fix something if you didn't get it straight or you didn't like what you put. Yeah, it's the second to the smallest. I took an ink blending brush and a little bit of Flirty Flamingo ink, and I blended that on before I cut this piece. So I got a piece of just a rectangular square or rectangular piece of cardstock, and I put a little bit of Flirty Flamingo ink. Then I stamped my sentiment and cut it out. Okay, that's how I changed the sentiment that I wanted to use. So we gotta quickly change our stamp and seal. Sorry, you guys. Had I known, I would have had that done already, of course, or had it ready in any case. But I did not pay close enough attention. Does anybody get the zipper seal for these? I don't understand it. Okay, so I'm going to take that, remove that from my case, pop off my lid, check for any goobers at the top, glue goobers. I'm going to toss this piece. And this glue adhesive comes off really easy if you just pull it. And once you have that all done, you want to make sure you do that each time. You put a replacement in. Then you just have to line these 3 holes up with these 3 pegs. Put it in there. And there we go. And we are back in business. Ready to go just that quick. I feel like I've got a bit of adhesive on my finger. Okay, so then we can put this in here. And then this is what I've done for my envelope. I just stamped that same little sprig of flowers. And that is my coordinating envelope. I hope you enjoyed that card. It's kind of quick. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot this. I bet y'all were wondering what I was going to do with this. Yes. We all need a little bling on the inside, right? So we're just going to bring this in here. Put that down with a glue dot. And there we go. All right. I hope you liked that quick and easy card from a stamp set that you wouldn't think would necessarily be a Valentine's card. That could definitely be a Valentine's card or an anniversary card. Oh, and sorry, forgot these. Don't forget our bling. These are the new iridescent foil gems that you will find in the new mini catalog. So we are going to take these and we're going to go one up here and take two of the smaller ones now. I'm going to take your pick tool and I'm going to put them here, which draws the eye to the sentiment. Okay? All right. There we go. Hold these out because we're going to be using those again. And if you're curious where this Be My Valentine sentiment is from, it's from the carryover stamp set called Throughout the Year. This is in the, I'm not sure if it's in online exclusives or if you just look in the stamp section and it'll show up there. Okay, so that is that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next project, which is a little bit more intense. Not horribly, but it is a little bit. So we have a lot of coloring on this one. Again, it uses the Thoughtful Expressions bundle. Got quite a few Stampin' Blends here that we're going to be using. I'm going to go ahead and just set these out here for you so you can take a screenshot if you choose. Okay. And then, let's see, we've got dark and light daffodil. And there we go. Hopefully those are all in the screen for you. In addition, we're going to be using Misty Moonlight and Tuxedo Memento Black. Okay, so let's get out our supplies. Let's move all of these out of the way for the moment. Place them over there. And of course, I always keep my color lifter close by. Our base this time is a piece of boho blue, and we've cut this one in half vertically. So we've got 4 1/4 by 11. And we are going to score this. I did not pre-score this. We're going to score this at 2 3/4. 2 3/4. Let's get to the 2 3/4. Can you even see that? Yep, I guess you can. 2 3/4. And 5 1/2. We are making an easel card for this one. Okay, so we've got that. So we're going to fold this in half at the 5 1/2. And then we're going to fold in the same direction at the 2 3/4 mark. And that's going to give us our easel. So your card base should look like this. And when we do this, it's going to sit up like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and move that out of the way for a minute. And let's bring in our other pieces. So I've cut from the Thoughtful Expressions bundle, the dies. I've cut the largest of the swoopy square circular things. So I've cut this in Misty Moonlight, and then with the second largest, I cut Boho Blue. All right, so we've got those. And these we're going to set aside. Let's go ahead and get our stamping done. So we're going to need a scrap piece of basic white cardstock. Okay. And we're going to stamp our hummingbird and the large sprig of flowers, and then the single flower. This is our group, and hopefully this scrap will fit it all. We're going to find out here very quickly. Yep, that's going to fit. Okay, let's get that. Okay, we've got our hummingbird. Then let's get our sprig of flowers, which I'm going to turn upside down too, so I can see what I'm stamping or what I'm inking. I'm going to put this clear over here on this end. And then I'm going to find a spot where I can maybe not stamp that. Okay, let me find a scrap piece, another scrap piece, because this is a little too tight. Okay, there we go. These are the 3 pieces that you will need. Let's get those out of the way. And I'm not going to color all of these, but I'm going to show you how I did the hummingbird and at least one of the flowers. Okay, so we're going to start with the dark boho blue, and I'm going to start with my hummingbird. And I'm just going to color his beak. And I went out the line, so this is why I keep my color lifter right here. You want to color put your color lifter just beyond what you colored and let it push the color back inside the line. If you get right on the line, it'll bleed. Okay, then we're going to take the dark fresh freesia, and I'm coloring in these spots on the belly and this area of his head. And then we're going to go light fresh freesia. Down there a bit. And then I'm moving to the dark bubble bath. And I'm always going up into the color that I had before to make sure I get a good blend. And then I'm going to finish up that belly area with the light bubble bath. Okay. Now we're going to start on the wings. This time I'm going to be using my brush tip. And I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to flick the color up and out. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the light boho blue. I'm going to flick some of that color right over the top of my Misty Moonlight. Okay. And then I'm going to, am I missing one? Let's see from, it seems like I should have the Light Lost Lagoon. Let me see if I put that away. I did. Okay, so Light Lost Lagoon. And then I'm going to flick that down a bit. Okay. I went out just a tiny bit, so I'm going to push that back in. And then I'm going to take my light soft seafoam. This time I'm going to use my bullet tip. And I'm actually going to flick my color back and forth here over the top of that last lagoon. Until I get that blend, because I don't want any definite changes in color. All right, so there's my bird. And for my flowers, I took I think I should have light and dark old olive, and I don't. Okay, so let's go dark daffodil delight. Okay, I need to grab my light old olive from the other bucket. Okay, there we go. Now we've got this. Okay, and then we're going to take our light daffodil delight. We're just going to go over those like that. And then a dark calypso coral. I'm just going to brush some color over the artist lines. Not trying to get too much, and if your brush tip is not good, use your bullet tip. Okay. And then we're going to go back and I'm going to fill this in. Okay. Making sure that I mix that light and dark together. Okay. And that's how I did my flowers. Now for the leaves, I'm just going to take the dark old olive and I'm going to go around the base of the petals there and a little bit of dark there. Take my old olive light and fill that in. Blend it all over. Okay. And that is going to give me my leaves. Okay. And then for these, I'm going to take my dark Put a little bit at the base, and then fill it in with the light. Okay, and then I would do the same with this flower as well. And I've got, oh, and then before I go anywhere, I'll take my Wink of Stella and put a little bit on the hummingbird's head, and then a little bit on the wings, the body here, and then a little bit on the flowers. Not covering the entire flower, just parts of it. Okay, and then once I had those all colored, I would take the coordinating dies and cut those out because all of these have dies, so you don't have to fussy cut anything. Okay, and take that to your machine and cut those out. And do the magic of television. I've already done that. Okay, so here's our pieces. Okay, so I've got those. And where is my, oh, maybe I need that hummingbird. I might need to cut that hummingbird. I thought I had one. Looks like I might need to cut him because I'm not seeing him in my, okay, well, let's get that out and get that done then. Okay, so this, all of these will run through the mini. So let's just get this and the die. This is the only piece I really need to cut, so that's all I'm going to take the time to do. Now this, oh, this is why I didn't cut it. This little hummingbird beak, there's a little tiny hole in this die, okay? So when you line this up, I find the easiest way is to put the end of that beak in that hole so you can see it, and then maneuver the rest of your, I keep my finger on that and maneuver the rest of the die into place. Okay, and then I'll give that a taping with my Post-it tape. And you could, of course, run these through at the same time. I think I might have moved this section just a tiny bit. There we go. Get that back into place. It looks pretty good. And we'll run that through. Okay. And I just reuse my Post-it tape. And there is our little bird. Okay. So I've already got these other two pieces cut. Now, in addition to cutting these with the thoughtful expressions in Misty Moonlight and Boho Blue, I also cut out of that same die set two of the second to the smallest of these in Misty Moonlight and the smallest one in Boho Blue. Okay, and we're going to take these two. Let me get this put away before I knock it off and lose it. These two I'm going to glue together so that I've got a double thickness. So I'm just going to take some Tombow liquid glue so I can slide this around. And I'm just going to give this some glue. And I'm going to line this up as best I can. Hi, Laura. Okay, so I've got these all lined up. Then I like to take when I do this and hold this tight and give that a good press with the bone folder. Okay, so I've got that piece. We're going to stamp on this one. So let's go ahead and get our sentiment. Now, I wanted to get my sentiment straight. So I'm actually going to bring in my stamp positioning tool. And I'm going to line this up right here in this little corner. And then I'm going to stamp this in Misty Moonlight. Oh, I didn't get the whole thing. There we go. Making sure I've got that all nice and tight. It's kind of a tight fit on this label piece. It says you're in my thoughts today. Okay, I'm going to stick that in there so it doesn't get all yucky. And let's stick this over here. Okay, so now I've got my sentiment piece, and this is going to layer on top of this. So we're going to put some adhesive there and layer that together. Center it as best I can. That looks pretty good to me, and give that a press. Okay, let's bring back our card base. And we've got some, I put that in the wrong spot. I better put it away till I get it right. Okay, so I've got some of the Flight and Airy Designer Series paper. This is another one of those celebration choices that you can make with a $50 purchase. Okay, and this, actually, I don't have all, well, I have all the pieces, but this is all I have left of this sheet. I've used quite a bit of it already. And so you've got birds and leaves on the back, and then this pecan pie section here. And then we've got the pattern that we're going to be using. And on the back of that is these birds. Okay. And then we've got birds and this flower pattern on the back. Got leaves, more birds, fresh freesia, and birds here. This is that flower leaf pattern. So you've got a watercolor base here with the birds here. And let's see. I think that might be all the patterns. Sure looks that way. Yep. Okay. Let's move this out of the way. And that is with a $50 purchase choice. You can make that. So we are going to, I need a piece of white. I forgot to grab the white. I need a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of basic white for the inside of the card. Let's go ahead and grab that. So 4 by 5¼ All right, there's that piece. So we have to glue one of our designer series papers to this. Now, I've got 2 pieces of designer series paper that are 4 by 2½ inches. And I have one piece that is 4 by 2¾ and that's what we're going to put on our white piece here. Okay. I'm just going to line that right up with the bottom and sides of our piece of white. And when we've got it how we want it, we're going to give that a press. Then we're going to add this to the inside of our card. Okay, and I'm just going to put this right here. Okay, and if you stamp the back of your cards, now is the time to do it. So we're going to grab our Misty Moonlight ink and stamp the back of our card. So that is all done. And ready to go. Okay, now we're going to take on the front of our card and we're going to add these 2 pieces here and here. And if you cut them out of the same piece, make sure they line up. Or if that doesn't matter to you, then don't worry about it. Okay. If you have trouble getting your Stampin' Seal going, grab your silicone mat and just roll it on the mat. And it'll roll right on there. So I'm going to put this down here. Like this. And then I'm going to add this. To the top of my card here. Making sure that I'm lining up my edges, trying to get an even border there. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to take and add these 2 pieces together. And when I do that, I want to make sure that I'm lining up my points so that they layer inside each other. Okay? Perfectly. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue so I've got a little bit of sliding time to get that lined up just how I would like it. And I'm lining up these 4 points here, top, bottom, and the sides. Trying to make sure that I've got an even border all the way around. And this is where the liquid glue comes in handy. And when I've got it, I can do that. Give it a good press. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my flowers. And I'm going to put these on here. Now this one flower, let's see, this is going to go like this. And my bird is going to come up here, but I want to add this flower. And I want this flower to look like it's part of this image. And if I just place this down with the white here, it's not going to look like it's part of that image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to eyeball where I want that to go. And I'm going to cut around the edge where it's going to settle into my other image. And I'm just going to cut right outside or on the black line until I get to where I want it. Okay, and I'm going to lay that down again. Okay, I want this to come right out here. All right, and then when I lay that in there, do you see the difference that that gives? I'm going to go ahead and take this right here from this leaf. Now, you may not care about that, so of course that's a totally optional step, but you can see what difference that does make. And I'm going to go ahead and add this. In here like so, because I want these to be right at the edges. So I'm going to do this, like this, and then I'm going to add this in. But I've got this level and this level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of Stampin' Seal on this edge, on the left edge. And on the right edge, I'm going to get some glue dots. Okay, because I want that to sit pretty level. So I'm going to double stack that glue dot. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add this right in here like so. Okay, now it appears I did not put my link of Stella on my last flower here, so let's make sure that looks like the other two. And that is how I made my cluster of 3 flowers. Okay, now let's go ahead and add this to our card. Okay, and we are going to take this and I'm going to lay this right along this with the 2 little bumps here. That's what I want it to lay right along the score line, but I don't want it to adhere to the top and adhere my card closed. So I'm going to, on the bottom half, I'm going to take, and I'm going to stay below those 2 notches here and here, and I'm going to put plenty of adhesive in there. Okay, so that's what I've done. I stayed below the notches, and I'm going to bring this in here like this, making sure that I get my points that I want along my score line. Center that up, give it a good press. Okay, now I like to turn mine over. I want to make sure that it adheres good, or adheres well. Okay, so then when I stand this up, then I've got my easel. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our easel portion in, and this is why we did the double. because this will hook on here. I did not want to put Stampin' Dimensionals and make that super thick because we already have so many layers. And I wanted it to be mailable. So we are just going to put this down with some Stampin' Seal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my card. And I'm going to put this right in the center of this piece of Designer Series paper. As close as I can. Okay, like that. Now I've got my easel. You can see that it's going to stay. Okay, and then I'm going to add my hummingbird. Now I want my hummingbird to sit where it's on here, looks like it's touching my flower, and my wings are going to hang off. So before I do anything, I'm going to take my fingernail. I'm just going to give those a little flick. Okay, then I'm going to make sure that I know where I can put my adhesive so that it stays on the card and not out in the air, because I don't want that sticking to my the top of my card and gluing it closed. Okay, so I think that should be good. Then I can take and put this down here like so. And when I lay that down, then I can take and flip that up and see that I have not gotten any adhesive past the ends of the wings. So we're good. Okay, so this card is almost finished. Now to finish this off, we're going to bring in some twine. And the twine that we are using is from the new Baker's Twine 3-color pack. The twine color is actually Flirty Flamingo, but I think it works really, really well with the Calypso Coral. So I'm going to bring in that roll, and we are going to wrap this around 3 times because I want a nice bow. I also don't want these on top of each other, so let's move. Okay, bring that up and tie it off. And I always tie from the spool whenever possible. Saves me a lot of ribbon or twine. Okay, so now I've got that. Grab our ribbon scissors, cut that off. And this is what I had for waist. Right there, that tiny little piece. I'm going to bring this up, and we're going to grab another glue dot, which I set those right here. I'm going to put that down on my glue dot. Take my tweezers. I'm going to lay this down. Okay. And I'm going to put this right here. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do is take those same dots that we had, the iridescent foil gems, for the last project. And this time we're going to use big ones. And we're going to go take your pick tool, and I'm going to put one in the center of each flower. Okay, and there you have it. I hope you like that. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the envelope. And then your recipient can just set that up. And there you go. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed those projects. Hello, Jennifer. And that you will take a look at that Thoughtful Expressions bundle. Those dies can work with any stamp set for any project, so I highly recommend them. Even if you don't like the stamp set, then just get the dies. Okay, all right, so here's our first project. Well, let me show you my envelope for that too. So the envelope for this one, I took and stamped the flower in the corner, and I did use Wink Stella, and then on the back I used a piece of that coordinating designer series paper because it's free, and why not? Okay, all right, so there you have it, our projects for this evening using the Thoughtful Expressions, and I'm hoping that I will have a bonus project for you on Sunday. I'm hoping to get a video actually made, which I will post on my YouTube channel for everyone. And that will give you another use for the Thoughtful Expressions. Okay, hope everybody has a good night. Stay home. It is nasty. And hopefully it won't snow and we can all meet on Saturday for those of us who are local and have a good time together. Okay, everybody, I will see you next Tuesday live at 7 p.m. Good night.